thank you to Fari for reading out what I would say is my LinkedIn profile. This is how I would introduce myself. And as we journey on in the conversation, you'll see how that introduction would evolve from time to time. So I would describe myself as a young and ambitious Nigerian woman with a passion for social impact and good governance. Although I'm a qualified lawyer, as mentioned, I have had the privilege of working across the development and creative sectors. So my career so far has ranged from serving in public service as a senior special assistant to the Executive Governor of Edo State, to building SME brands across the beauty and FMCG space as a brand strategist. Currently, I work as the Executive Director, Rebuilding Relate Africa. And what Fari mentioned, we were still in our process of evolving our positioning and reframing. But currently, we're a nonprofit based in Lagos that provides emotional and psychological support to individuals through mental health advocacy, counseling training, and psychotherapy services. And my core values are authenticity, integrity, service, and excellence. So firstly, I know we do these presentations with the speaker starting off, but I want to hear from everyone on this call. What do these images say to you? Feel free to type in the chat. I'm not sure I'll be able to see it, so we may actually need to come off mute. You can let me know what you think these images say to you. Words, phrases, anything at all. There are no wrong answers.
Decisions and collaboration.
Me. Okay, who spoke? Thank you. Decisions and collaboration.
Ifeanyi Olagbaje.
Okay, thank you, Auntie. Yes. Anyone else?
I can see someone walking alone, and then I see teamwork in the second picture.
Okay. Life is dynamic. I've seen that in the chat. Thank you. Who said someone walking alone and teamwork?
My name is
So we've had
Godia.
teamwork come up. Pardon?
Godia.
Godia. Okay, I've seen. Okay, you typed in the chat as well. Anyone else? Imo? Anyone else?
I think, yeah, similar to 25 is about decisions, and then I guess being able to build something as well on the other one.
Okay.
Choices.
We heard. Great. Thank you, Imo. Making choices. Great. Okay, we have quite a few people we haven't heard from. Damilola Oluwalade. Let's hear from you, please. Or anyone else we haven't heard from. Please go ahead. Decision making. Okay, we have quite a few decision coming up. Every choice made has different outcomes. Excellent. I love that. Okay. A lot of critical thinkers in the room. Is that everyone? I think so. Okay. So thank you for sharing what immediately stands out to you. This is what I had at first glance, stating the obvious: crossroads, multiple paths, a jigsaw puzzle, fear, caution, pause. And then I said, if you're deep, the road less traveled, there are no limitations in my path. My name is synonymous with authenticity. Oh, I think we have something else in the chat. Do we? Resilience and decision maker. I like the word resilience a lot. Okay. I owe it to myself to stay true to who I am. I can never go far trying to be what I'm not. My purpose is incomplete until I become my most authentic self. So these are the words that stood out to me. But I'm curious to hear from those who mentioned decision making and collaboration. Can you tell us more about that, making choices? Can you tell us why decision making stood out to you?
So the reason why I chose decision making, because in that image there are different paths, and it just shows different paths that different people have in life and different decisions that need to be made towards going towards those paths.
Amazing. Okay, and someone else who said every choice made has different outcomes. Can we hear from you?
I chose that because every choice made has different outcomes. The road in which the individual might be taking out of I think there are four that I can see. All of them have different outcomes as far where you end up. Yes.
Fantastic,
Different.
thank you. And I like how we've all agreed. Oh, we have one more thing in the chat. Making a decision takes a strong will. Thank you very much, Ms. Modupe Koka. I like how we've all highlighted the word different outcomes. No one here has said wrong or right. We're highlighting the difference in the outcomes, right? So we'll get back to that. I just want us to have this image at the back of our minds. The reason why these phrases came to me when I thought of the word, when I saw this picture with the puzzle, is, can anyone answer, when you're putting together a jigsaw puzzle, is it possible for the puzzle to be complete if a piece is missing? Yes or no?
Well, no.
Exactly. So, and imagine if this is, I think it's a 60,000 piece puzzle. So even if you had, I can't do maths, but 60,000 minus one, even if you had all of those pieces, if one piece was missing, this puzzle would still be incomplete. And imagine if a piece in this puzzle tried to contort itself to fit another shape. Would it be able to go into the designated space that it's meant to be placed in? Yes or no?
No.
No,
Exactly. Thank you. And thank you to those in the chat. Okay, so we can all agree that for a puzzle to be complete, we need all the pieces placed in the right positions, and the pieces need to be in the exact position that they came in. So we can't contort or change themselves or shapeshift to look like a different piece in order to complete the puzzle. So please, let's just bear these two images at the back of our minds. So our learning points today, if I could put into themes what I would like to discuss. Curiosity is a compass. The courage to begin anyway. Purpose evolves, and daring forward. Starting with curiosity being a compass, I'll start with the script I was given. Remember, we're building a life beyond the script. The script I was given is D-Law. If you're based in Nigeria or Nigerian, you will know, or you would have heard of the phrase D-Law. I grew up winning debates in school. I was good at arguing. And the natural progression in my household was to study law, become a qualified lawyer, and practice law because I thought it would be exactly like what I was watching in Suits. I wanted to be like Jessica Pearson. She looked great, she looked fantastic, and she was commanding the room. And naturally, I also found myself standing up for other people, defending other people. So I wanted to be an advocate. So naturally, I thought, okay, this was the perfect answer to a career. But I found that throughout that journey, one from starting university in the first year, whilst I was going to my lectures and coming back, going to lectures, coming back, going to my tutorials, coming back, there started becoming an increasing restlessness and feeling of being unsettled and a burning curiosity for more. So I started looking at different societies. There was the Women in Business Society, there was the Catholic Society, and the Afro-Caribbean Society. So because of my extroverted nature, I thought, okay, why not go for the ACS president role? And to my parents' shock and disgust, they sent me a long message saying that's not what they sent me to school for, and I should, for in caps. I wish I still had the screenshots. My dad said, please focus on your law program. That's not what you were sent there for. And so as the obedient last born that I tried to be, I continued going to classes and I went on to the second year. By second year, this curiosity deepened and this restlessness increased. At that point, there was something called, and please remember this because I'll reference it later. There was something called Battle of the Bands. So I liked singing in secondary school, and there were some students from my secondary school who were in the same uni as me. And so there was a competition called Battle of the Bands, and you had to put together a band and you could win either money or tickets towards something. So we put together this band. And after the gig, people kept asking when our next gig was and how many gigs we were going to have, and if we had a Facebook page. And overnight, we became this band, and I was the lead vocalist of this band. So all of a sudden, my identity is now evolving from accurate debater or accurate timekeeper and debater to lawyer or lawyer in training to lawyer in training and lead vocalist of a band. It didn't really make sense on paper, but I was enjoying myself. I was getting excited. Although I was asking myself, can I deviate from this script that I've been given? And so I want to ask each of you as well. There's probably a script that you've been given at some point in your lives. Maybe in your class, you're good at, in secondary school and primary school, you're good at science. And so the natural progression was for you to pursue engineering. Or maybe you're good at English and the natural progression is for you to study English or a similar course. But then sometimes when you're alone by yourself and not with family or friends, something in you is saying, this script is starting to feel a little bit unnatural to me. Do you have that courage to deviate from this script? So the first thing I would like to say, curiosity compass. As mentioned earlier in my bio, and the space that I'm currently working in is development. I didn't know then, rather, this picture was taken, I would say maybe 15 years ago. So summer, an auntie of mine had this foundation called the African Child Development Initiative, and there was a summer camp, and we would go to Kefi Street to teach the boys and girls math, English, history, and there was always a talent show at the end. I was very competitive, so I always ensured that my class won the talent show. But the relevance of this story was that it evolved from being a summer hobby to something that I ensured that I came back to Nigeria for annually. To the extent that when we're planning our summer holidays, I would say to my parents, oh, I've got to be in Nigeria at this time because I have to take up this position and this role at the African Child Development Initiative summer camp. And so that quickly made me realize that it was no longer a hobby. It became a passion to serve, a passion to help people and the less privileged. And so you would see that it isn't a coincidence that what started off as a hobby is now my full-time career of being committed to social impact and public service. This quote from Albert Einstein, I love. It says, I have no special talents. I'm only passionately curious. It means that during your university time or during your journey, always follow that curiosity that's nudging at you, saying, oh, is there a different path that I could follow here? Or is that something that I could be doing differently? So try out new things. There's I think it's in science, actually. I don't remember, but experimentation. Sometimes when we think of our science classes and we think of experiments that go wrong, but we often neglect experiments that actually go right. So my question here to you is, what fuels your fire? Serving people, helping the less privileged, is what fuels me. It's what propels me forward. It's at the foundation of everything I do, and it's what keeps me up at night. So these are questions I want you to write down and think for yourself. What keeps me up at night? Yes, I have, maybe you're in your job or you're in your application process, or you're still in school, but there's something that might keep you up at night. Oftentimes that translates into what people today purpose. Am I still with everyone? Can everyone still hear me? Are we still on track?
Yes,
Yes.
Can I hear your voices? Okay, great. Thank you. Ordinarily, we'd like to take questions at the end, but if you have any burning questions, please just come off mute. Okay, so here's the courage to begin anyway. Courage isn't about feeling ready or fearless. It's about choosing to begin while your hands still shake and the outcome is uncertain. Every meaningful change starts in that uncomfortable space between intention and action. So when you dare to move before clarity arrives, you create momentum, and momentum creates confidence. The leap is rarely perfect, but standing still guarantees nothing changes. So some of us might be type A in the sense that we're waiting for all our dots, all our T's to be crossed and all our I's to be dotted and everything to be in order before we take steps. But life is really just a lot more dynamic than that. Sometimes we really just need to fail forward and start, and having that courage to start anyway. The reason why I'm saying the courage to begin anyway is because, as you saw, I was on the path to, and I did eventually become a qualified lawyer. But soon after my call to bar in 2019, during law school, I started volunteering in my mom's NGO, which I now head as the executive director. I was doing social media management and just volunteering at events, serving at events during my law school year. And then that made me realize, actually, I don't really care much for corporate law. And when I was doing applications, you have to write things. There's certain things that you have to put in your application about commercial awareness. You have to be conversant with the Financial Times. And I realized as I was writing each application, I think I wrote about 30 to 50 applications, even just for internships. Every single application felt like I was spewing lies, like I didn't know what on earth I was talking about. In fact, it got so bad that I was, in my law school year, and I had met up with a previous crush, should I say, or situationship. And he had asked me what was going on. He had like an impressive career. He was working in Goldman in New York and la da da. And so I wanted to say something equally impressive. So I said, yes, well, I'm studying law. I'm in law school now, and I'm about to be a qualified lawyer, and I'm going to do my master's in maritime law. Till tomorrow, I couldn't tell you what maritime law is. I can't. I don't know what it is, But I knew in that moment that I was lying. I was waffling. And why? Just to impress people, just to appease this audience that wouldn't even matter to me later on in life. He's a great guy, bless him wherever he is. But he couldn't be the person in control of the steps that I was taking towards my life and my destiny. So I had to pause there and say, okay, even though I'm not following this path of studying law, being a qualified lawyer, starting in a law firm, I'm going to start again because I'm going to start in a path that I know is true to myself. And also there was a phrase that came to me this year when I went away on my beginning of year retreat. And God said to me, are you ready for a year of unapplauded growth? Because sometimes what gingers us, should I say, or what keeps us going is when people are saying, yes, keep going, clapping, they're reposting your posts on Instagram and on LinkedIn, and you feel like you're doing things. But when we think about trees, and when let's think about a garden and what makes a garden beautiful. Imagine if we only had grass. We wouldn't call that a garden, we would call that a field. Imagine if we had grass and maybe a palm tree. Still, I'm not sure we would call it a garden. What makes a garden beautiful is the variety of plants. We have shrubs, we have trees, lemongrass, we have coconut trees, we have, And imagine if a coconut tree was trying to grow as lemongrass, or lemongrass was trying to grow as a palm tree, You'd have to cut it down to its roots and it would need to start again. If it was growing funny, trying to copy what it wasn't, it would have to be cut down to its roots and start again, right? But then what happens before we even see those plants shoot up? The roots that are dug into the soil. And digging into the soil and growing to the soil and staying connected to their source for the nutrients, for the growth, that happens in the dark. As I mentioned, I'm very connected to my faith, Catholic, and so I will make a lot of spiritual references here. There's a scripture in the Bible that says, "You watched me being formed in utter seclusion." Sometimes our formation, God needs us to be separated from the noise, separated from your community. God needs us to be in a season of unapplauded growth. And it might seem very isolating, sometimes even a little bit depressive. But the point is, when you know that this is your path of unapplauded growth, if you think of yourself like a tree that is building its roots and then will eventually emerge and shoot up to become this beautiful plant, then you can stay committed to your path. Here, I'm urging you to have that courage to start again, even though it feels like you've lost some years. Some of your peers are ahead of you. Stay focused and stay true to who you are and your path. So my question here is, what's stopping you from starting today? If you've had a nudge, if you've been curious about certain things, maybe you've been on a particular path and there's been something eating at you saying, I actually feel like I'm built for more. What's stopping you from pursuing that path today? It might not be as clear. I might be speaking idealistically. I understand there might be circumstances beyond your control that may be preventing you from having that courage to begin. But I want you to just think through that as we carry on in this session. Do I still have everyone with me? Yes?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. So purpose evolves. Stay open. When we think of the word purpose, it sounds like such a heavy, purpose. What's her purpose? She's staying true to her purpose. Is this in line with my purpose? But it sounds like it's not one thing, actually. Your purpose will unfold over time. It's shaped by your own unique experiences, your curiosity, and change. There's something that is certain and that is constant, it's change. I don't even think I'm the same person that I was a year ago. Talk less of that person that you saw 10 years ago, So when people say to me, "Oh, how come you're not practicing law?" Let's just say I left university some time ago, but I'm not the person, like I mentioned, I'm not the person that I was last year. Talk less of the person that I was 12 years ago, which is when I took the decision to study law. So also stay open to that evolution. Don't resist it. Don't fight it. And don't feel like you have to explain it to anybody because it's your story and your own path. As you grow, what matters to you may shift, and that isn't failure or inconsistency. Don't feel like you're being judged by anybody else. Everyone, I promise you, is focused on their own lives. Staying open allows your purpose to remain alive, flexible, and responsive to who you are becoming, not just who you once were. So this is me asking you to dare to be different. I enjoy teams when we're building teams and people come from different backgrounds, different walks of life, coming with different stories. It makes for such a richer experience, And like we said, with this puzzle can never be complete if one piece is trying to be like another, And if you're trying to shape shift to become another piece, you can never complete this puzzle. So think about completing the puzzle, right, in your life. And that means staying true to who you are, daring to be different, staying to being committed to being your most authentic self and staying true to what is most authentic to you, right? Okay. And before I end, I want all of us to come off mute and say these affirmations together. Okay? Is everyone off mute? I'll lead and then you can repeat after me. Okay. I am different.
I am different.
No, let's not say it like we were forced to wake up this morning. Say it like you believe it and you mean it. We'll go again. I am different.
I am
different.
I am creative.
I am
creative.
I am building a life
I am
Building a life
beyond the script.
beyond
the
script.
Okay, thank you very much. Well done. A round of applause for yourselves. A round of applause. Let's hear those claps. A round of applause. I didn't hear the claps. I hope we're all clapping for ourselves. Okay, so just to share different parts of my journey, here I am, lead vocalist. Here I am, lead actor in a play lead role. That was Jane Eyre in secondary school. This was my role in public service with the Executive Governor of Edo State. This was me interviewing market women, asking about getting a sense of their financial literacy levels. This was me in the situation room during the elections, the PDP situation room during the elections. So wearing different hats, but still the same person that you saw here, still her, and still the same person that you can see on the screen. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And right now, I'm just thinking about some of the things you said, especially in relation to students who are about to go to university, students who are in university. I think something I resonate with, in addition to just having or playing different roles, entrepreneurship, now education, previously infrastructure investment, public policy research. I really appreciate my parents because I probably was a difficult child to raise. And then there are certain things that I would say, like, I knew here would, because, I just like to learn, on my own. I've always loved physics. I've loved architecture for a long time. And right now, I want to pose a question to the room. Anyone can come in to answer the question. I'll share it after this statement. In complex systems, cause and effect only make sense in hindsight. Now, the question is, what are some challenges you all have faced on your path, and how did you surmount them? What made you want to pivot, be it in an activity, in school, in an interest? And anyone is open to jump in.
Okay, I think I'll quickly share. So I like how you said some things is in hindsight, you kind of realize that the puzzles will kind of fit. So for me, I had a break I was in between jobs at some point, and I kind of didn't know what was next, but I didn't just want to stop. So I joined, would I call it like a kindergarten, sort of, primary school in Nigeria. I was offered a role as an administrator, but I've never been in the education sector before. And I was just like, I don't know anything, but I was willing to give it a shot. I'm like, it's admin, and I've done customer service before, so why not? While in that school, I think it's very important that we kind of immerse ourselves in wherever we find ourselves and just be in there, be present. I was quite present. So, and the owner of the school kind of noticed, and she kind of picked that I was really in it. So she would invite me for curriculum building, not curriculum, what do you call it, like planning for the term, teams and all that. And I'm just like, what do I really know in this sector? But I'll go for it, and I'll just keep sharing my ideas. And while we were thinking of the theme for a particular session, they mentioned the 3 R's of sustainability, reduce, reuse, recycle. And it was like something just snapped in my brain. I just started saying things that I knew. And for me, it was a light bulb moment. And, it's interesting that that was kind of what pushed me, because I knew I wasn't meant to be there for long. I spent just 1 year in that school. But what am I saying? That going to that school was where I kind of saw that I could be more. I was going to apply for a master's, but I didn't know what I wanted to do a master's in because my first degree was urban and regional planning, which I didn't quite enjoy. I felt like it was a script. I just had to do it. But the dots connect because I was able to be instrumental for like excursions and things like that to change the T, a recycling hub in Abuja. And I was the one leading everything, and I'm not in education sector. That's what I used to say. But here I was, the administrator, doing all that, creating things with children, deforestation, teaching them things. I was open. And it was from there I was able to write a personal statement why I would come do a master's in environmental assessment and management, because the school was what helps me to write a personal statement of all my achievements using just those 3 R's in sustainability. So for me, in hindsight, I have tried so many things and that worked out for me. And I think my personal statement, I saw other people being given that personal statement as an example of what they should write to get a master's. And I was like, great, I'll stop there.
Amazing. We had, and thank you for that contribution, Auntie Godia. We had Mufin Folua raise her hand. So Fini, if you'd like to join the chat, you're welcome.
Okay. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Yes.
So I've not gotten into uni yet, so I'm still within my gap year phase. So what I'd like to share is about my choice of my program that I wanted to venture into. So I also like touched on what Miss Uyeme said about um why you want to do a particular course. Like maybe you just had like a knack for physics, chemistry or something within your junior years and you just felt, oh, maybe I would like to do sciences. So it's been like a back and forth for me in finding out what it is that I want to do because me, I'm someone that's like I'm like a restless soul, if you can say that. So I'm always like, okay, if I do this, what's the outcome of this one? Okay, I also like economics. What's going to come out of this one? So what I'm trying to do this gap year is basically to like reinvent myself in different ways because also without the course choices and all, I also have to work on my extracurriculars and other things. So basically, um, I'm also like bent on engineering. Like that's just resonating for me. But the issue is that there are a lot of branches of engineering to figure out exactly. So, and me, I'm someone that I know my strengths and I know my weaknesses because it's not every single weakness I know. But what I know is that, okay, am I really bent on doing software, like making programs, doing different things, and I'll just have to like assess that. So basically, I just decided to share that, meaning that some people can also not have the answer at the moment because like some of my friends, they already knew what they wanted to do since junior school. So I'm just saying that it's a bit different for some people. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, that's true. That's very true. I want to say something to contribute to what you said, but I think we've all been on the same wavelength. Thank you so much, Fee. And then working with you has been great too, because I've been able to see who you are and what you're interested in. So thank you so much for your courage. And then next, I saw Kin Pia raise their hand. You're welcome to join the chat.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Kempia. I'm from Jos. Godia invited me here, and it's been an interesting and educative program. So the question you asked, I remember when I was younger, my father saw the potential of me being a teacher, and he said, "Oh, you should go to the College of Education." And I was not happy because I was like, "Ah, so is this what he is looking at me like a common teacher?" You know, I just wanted to read mass communication. I wanted to be Christine Amanpour. I want to be, you know, on the field, reporting, a big journalist and everything. But fast forward, I um, happened to be in education by mistake. um, because I had to um, the passion to open a free school for orphans and vulnerable children on the plateau because of the circumstances, the crisis, the conflict, and everything. And I discovered that, oh, so you are truly a teacher. So what did I do next? I took a lot of trainings. I did a lot of trainings on education, and then finally I decided to go and study early childhood education. That was what I did. I just graduated just last month. After a very long time. After a very very long, over 20 years, my father said, "Go and do education." But fast forward is something that I found myself in, and then I'm enjoying it and I'm doing well in it. So yeah. I don't know if that answers the question.
Yeah, that was very helpful. I had a similar situation where I didn't exactly choose my course of study. I studied economics. Um, and then in one class, I learned in macroeconomics that recessions were created. Um, and after learning that recessions that literally harm people and households were created, I was just like, nah, I must do something more meaningful with my life. So, thank you for that. But, at the same time, lessons in those courses help me navigate life, and understand what's real and what's not, on the news, and how to just analyze uh, various things. So it all comes together in an interesting way. Um, Next question to the room. When was the last time you did something daring? And I feel like daring is a spectrum, right? For some people, going for a run is daring. For other people, it could be skydiving. For other people, it could be going to church for weekday mass or weekday service. So, when was the last time you did something daring?
Okay,
I'd
can
like
I
to
talk?
ask a question. Oops.
Okay, also.
Okay. Is that for me or because I know someone else will?
Yeah, Amy, you can go.
Okay, okay. So it was like last week I took up acting for the first time in a long time. Actually, for the first time. And it was one of my classmates who decided to recommend me for no reason whatsoever, because I've never told him that I can act or that I've been behind a camera before. And um, it was sort of the reason I'd classify that as daring is because though I had so many nerves, there was so much adrenaline going through me, and I kept getting compliments about how I was delivering very well. And I don't know, it was just a very, very special moment for me. And I just remember how much stress I was under and how well I was still able to execute, even though to me it felt like I wasn't doing anything really well. But the amount of compliments I got and the feedback I got really made it worth a daring situation. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. My immediate brother got into acting, um, and I didn't quite understand it because I was like, okay, like, does this mean I can't trust you anymore? Because you could just switch on demand. But yeah, well done for getting into that. Um, so yeah, the room is open. If anyone has any questions for Uyeme, feel free to ask.
Okay, hello everyone.
Hello, Damilola.
Good morning. So, just thank you very much for this opportunity to speak. And so, just based on Mr. Fari's question, something daring, I would say I was I was usually scared of sharing my opinion in public because I was always of the opinion that people will oppose the opinion or will have something negative to say about it. But then a particular day while in class, because I'm kind of in a gap here, but I'm currently in Covenant University. While in class, our lecturer asked the question, and I knew I had something to say in accordance with that. But because of the fear of sharing my opinions in public, I was timid. But then I decided to be bold, and I eventually spoke. When I spoke, my lecturer shunned me because he felt that what I said was top notch, and it was quite difficult for him to also analyze and also understand what I was trying to say. And also, I noticed that after I was done speaking, instead of receiving boos or send offs, I ended up receiving an applause from the entire class. So I think, yes, sharing my opinions in public is one of the daring things I've decided to engage in.
Yes, that's amazing, Damilola, and keep doing that. I remember in my university days, I'd do the same, and in the place I was, it wasn't popular for Nigerian students to be vocal in class. So yeah, I was very hard to place. I have been for a long time. And to what you said, I remember reviewing someone's essay, and she brought up the exact same situation of speaking up in class. When you do that, you serve as a teacher for others. And that applause shows that they trust you and value you as a person. So well done. Yeah, so it seems like we're at the hour. We can begin to round up. Does anyone have any last questions, last comments? What have you enjoyed about today's Lunch and Learn? What have you not enjoyed? What would you have liked to hear? I'd appreciate your feedback, and you being vocal will teach others as well.
Okay, I just wrote it in my a book. I said this is like this is a therapeutic session actually for me. Um, and the question, the speaker, I think the question is like is it what are you afraid of, or the after her session there was a question she asked. So, but what is in my head is like, what are you afraid of? Um, what why don't you want to venture in ABC? So for me, it's something that I've been sitting on it and thinking deep on it. And for me, it's therapy. My mind is clearer. I feel much refreshed and focused. So thank you.
Amazing. Thank you for that contribution. In the chat, we have Antigodia with the question for Uyeme. Can you touch on this saying, Jack of all and master of none? I believe university students should attend tester sessions to help know themselves. Very important. What do you think, Uyeme?
Thank you very much, ma'am, for raising that. And like you said, I think it is critical for university students to engage in tester sessions, as you've mentioned. What I touched on in my talk was the concept of experimentation. And so quite often what we used to have in my university on Fridays, I think twice a month, we would have different activities from different societies. We would also have some open days from companies. And so sometimes it was the more extroverted people who were bold enough to go up to these different stands. Because sometimes when you're sort of profiled, you're thinking, oh, okay, I'm an arts student. I don't really have any business going towards certain types of companies or certain types of stands. But here I would say you owe it to yourself to remain curious and to address your curiosity and test out different things, because you really don't know your range of skills and abilities until you put them to test. So yes, although the saying is jack of all trades and master of none, the positive side is that when you're trying different things, you grow in terms of adaptability, versatility as well, and also identifying what you'll eventually immerse yourself in. So it's not until you try different things that you can fully or confidently say that this is in fact what I am meant to be doing, right? So yes, that would be my answer, my response rather to that.
Amazing. And we have a comment that says, it's been a lot to think about and reflect upon. Thank you for hosting this. And thank you, Uyeme, for speaking to us. Yes, I would say reflection is important, 100%. And to the question of, jack of all and master of none, I think a helpful strategy for students is when you enter a new academic environment, think about three things. How can you apply what you are learning outside the classroom? What extracurricular activity can you participate in that you're good at? And what is something new you can think about doing? So take that rule of three, because it's important to pair activities so you're balanced. And in classrooms, in academics, think about pairing things like business law to, the philosophy of art. In the moment, it might seem there's no connection, but later in life, you would see how those lessons connect. And then just looking at the room again, does anyone have any more questions or comments?
No question from me. Just wanted to say thank you, Uyeme. And you're very happy to hear that you're an Exeter alumni, same as myself. Law school alumni as well, same as me. But thanks for taking the time. Really appreciated it.
Small world.
Thank you. Great to hear from you.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Fien, for joining. Thank you, Rita. Thank you, Damilola. I appreciate that you're learning. Keep on learning. And I appreciate you've joined this Academy Lunch and Learn. If you have any questions for me, I'm always available. Thank you, Feishayo, for joining. Send me an email, text me. And if you have any questions for Uyeme outside the session, feel free to contact.